Platform offering accommodations and activities that include or involve cannabis.
Elizabeth, can you give us a little bit of backstory on HiBnb?
Sure. Thanks very much for having me on the show and offering the additional exposure. It's very exciting what we're doing with HiBnb. So many people are rooting for us, behind us, and working towards it. HiBnb is very similar to Airbnb. We offer accommodations as well as activities, and we are serving the cannabis enthusiasts. So it's the cannabis community. So people can find accommodations that you can bring your own cannabis, or in some instances, the host will be providing cannabis, which means that an American tourist can book on HiBnb and come to Canada, and the cannabis will be there waiting for them in their accommodation rental. And then on our activity and adventure side, there's all sorts of fun things that people can do. Right now, we've got some listings. One is called Learn About Cannabis and Walk the Alpacas. We have a belly dance class, a waterfall hike with a home-cooked meal, learn how to make bubble hash. These are all activities that the general public are offering to put up on our site, and they're bookable. So suddenly that makes, if you're looking for something to do with your friend on an evening or a weekend, you have more options than just going to see a movie.
Absolutely. It's the entire experience. It's kind of like a getaway that's designated to kind of what the enthusiasts would be looking for, because these are obstacles we find, right? You stay at a place and it's not you don't know where to find it. It seems like it's a one-stop shop for just a great time and just ultimately something that they'd be seeking.
Yeah, well, we want to make sure that we don't exclude anybody at all. A lot of people think that the cannabis community are sort of like the younger partiers and who would want to, have that kind of person in their home, because they're afraid of damage. But there's all sorts of people in the cannabis community, a lot of people interested in the health and wellness aspects who use cannabis regularly. And when you travel, you don't want to get kicked out. They're looking for places where they can smoke inside, or the host can identify, like on a balcony. It can be either inside a designated smoking room, outside, or in a designated room outside. So those are the different options. But we're also open to people who are interested in exploring cannabis now that it's legal, who never really explored with it before. So if you're looking for something to do on the weekend, you can book in with a HiBnb where the host may leave out a couple edibles. And, if that host isn't interested in having smoking or combustible cannabis inside their place. And that's another way for people to learn about the cannabis industry and experiment with it, really, with all these fun products that are coming out.
Which there are lots of. I was just in San Francisco, and it's unbelievable to see the products coming out. And I could imagine in Canada, it's similar. Just with everything happening, it's so insane to see all these awesome brands. Can I ask you this? So let's say that somebody comes there, because everybody's experience with cannabis varies, right? You have tolerances that varies, and people's ultimately just, again, tolerance varies. So do you have classes? You have people, let's say coaches are not the right word I would use, but supervise anybody that can help guide them? Or is it sort of like you want to, how is it like, if, like you said, we want people to sort of get introduced to cannabis in some ways. If they join this, let's say they use HiBnb, they don't have any experience with it. It seems like they can really have that experience if they're seeking it. Let's say they never had it, and it would be a great first time experience. Yeah,
we support the safe, legal, and responsible use of cannabis in a day-to-day life. For somebody. So we have some education on our website, and there are a lot of websites that are only about cannabis education. So we have some high-level education on our website, and an in-house cannabis expert. And we put out a web series called Ask Our Expert, where every episode is a different question that she answers from the general public. She's also available to answer questions by email at askourexpert@hibnb.ca.
Very nice. And so how many locations are you guys currently working with at the moment?
We have approximately 35 accommodation listings on our site, mostly around the Southern Ontario region, a few out west and a few out in Nova Scotia. And we have about 25 adventure listings. But we are ramping up our marketing efforts. We're making a lot of changes to our website right now to build the strongest foundation. Because it's COVID, it's hard to get people to engage. It's hard even to get people to list because nobody's that comfortable in engaging in person-to-person activities or traveling that much.
Of course.
So we've been working to expand our foundation. We have partnered with a risk company, and they're able to guarantee up to 1 million euros of property damage for our hosts, and the same amount for liability. So it's great that we're able to offer that to the host that's concerned about damage in their property. And we're also integrating to connect automatically with what's called a channel manager. So these are all of the different property management companies who aren't going to come on our site and list their properties one by one because they may have 500 or even 1,000 listings. So we're opening up to the channel manager so that we can accept what's called the professional host. I've been learning a lot about the hospitality industry, and it's a great learning curve. I've also been learning about the technology industry. I spend so much time working on building this site so that it's reliable and comparable to the experience that people have on Airbnb. I just would like to say that when somebody comes to our site, it's really easy to navigate. And we kind of joke because who knows if the person's stoned when they come to the site, right? So, but it's very easy to navigate. You come to our site and you can play high, stay high, or get high. Funny. You're supposed to laugh.
I love it. I'm thinking about it, and that's great. That's awesome. And absolutely right. Easy to use, user friendly, and just like not too much going on there. That's awesome. That's really awesome. And so who's doing all the site stuff? How large is your team? Can we talk about, you have a lot taking place in one, who's doing the web design? Is it you have your team taking care of this all?
Yeah, well, we've been hiring a lot of consultants and people on contract, but the core team, I mean, we're still just a startup, so it's taking some time. I'm doing the work of like 5 people.
Absolutely.
So I came up with basic fundamentals of how the structure of the site should be, and worked with an experienced designer, worked with a UI designer, and then we were also contracting our service provider, who are the developers who are building it out in India. So there's a team of they've got a company of 300 people out in India. So I'm on the phone every morning with the developers, and also with our technical lead, who's here in Toronto with us, and just working out the kinks, adding new things. We're building and building and building. And I have a partner in the company. His name's Kelly Ehler, and he comes from the corporate finance side. So he's brought a lot of stability to the company. He has been working for a cannabis company. He's the former CFO of Slang Worldwide, which is an American cannabis company. So he has a lot of relationships in the cannabis industry and the banking industry, and he's been able to raise some money for us so that we can continue to build. And right now we're making the changes to our site so that we can open in the US. We're opening a HiBnb.us. And we're looking forward to hitting the U.S. market, because the U.S. market is actually, going to be a stronger market for us than Canada, not just because they have, so much more population, but because it's federally illegal there. And so, people are really concerned when they travel about using cannabis, and they want to make sure that they're not going to get kicked out. And they're not going to get a bad review on Airbnb that's going to hold them back from using Airbnb.
Yes, of course. This is just one of the many obstacles I imagine you guys have to work around. Yep.
Yeah. But so those people want to book on HiBnb because there's not a lot of options.
Absolutely. But then again, that's why it's a great gift to have HiBnb. It's a very, very great idea. And I don't even know of many others like it. It seems like a very original idea. So it's really exciting. Okay. So once it hits the US, we'll be making sure to give it all that exposure that it deserves, because that's really exciting.
Thank you. I mean, it's a labor of love. I've put every ounce of myself into this. And, we've got more people working for us too. We've been hiring a lot of students and working in marketing and there's just so much to do, and we're continuing to expand with our employees. And that the next round of financing that we're going through is basically to build a stronger infrastructure so that I don't have to work in the middle of the night and I can start to pay a little bit more attention to my daughter again. But it's important to point out that if anybody wants to follow us on social media, we're at Experience HiBnb. Otherwise, HiBnb.ca.
Your website?
Yeah, the website's HiBnb.ca, HiBnb.ca.